I'm really pleased to be here. There's an exhibition in the town hall at the moment, and it's called Stature. And statues like this one have been customised by two women called Warp and Weft. They've crocheted masks of famous Manchester women who didn't get marble busts made in the way that these were made for the men. So I recommend you go and see it. It finishes tomorrow. This poem that I'll start with is not about crochet, but it is about knitting. So that's why I mention it. On knitting. The trickiest slips are stitches dropped in the first few lines, the inch or so of rib that gets a garment off to a sturdy start. A knitter might make a fist of it, stick to the pattern, kid herself she's on track. The moment arrives when the flaw is undeniable. If you're so brilliant, fix it, my sister would hiss, and fling a sleeve or collar, needles and all, at our mother. By breakfast, the piece would be waiting, perfect, on the kitchen table. A gifted knitter is dogged and persistent like Miss Marple. She'll root out a missing loop, escort it with a crochet hook, up a ladder of knits and pearls to the idling needle. I have those skills, picked up like prayers at my grandma's knee. My daughters would marvel when I pulled their little scarves and dishcloths from the brink. Yet sometimes there's no help for it. Aran patterns and late-night television make for cables as skewed as Chesterfield's spire. The whole lot must come off. Yield, and there's a thrill in the unravelling, almost a shiver between the legs as row after row of kinked yarn piles up like the clipped coat of a labradoodle. Take a minute, catch your breath. Ease the wool round a hot water bottle. Crinkles smooth as the temperature drops. Give yourself distance, a week or so, then lift the skeins from the darkness of the wicker basket. This is your new project. This poem, Brain, is the one that Martin referred to. I wrote it because I saw an exhibition that the BBC, a piece that they had online about Alzheimer's, and it was a very moving piece, and as my mother had that condition, I think that's where this poem's come from. Brain glistens in a pool of saline, delicately eased from case of bone, pale as any shell dweller, blind creature unaccustomed to light. Colour of river clay, oyster mushrooms, yeast, runnelled as a walnut, ferns curled at the moment of unfurling, clusters of bladderwrack, bobbled pearls, universe in a bulb or corm, truffle slivers indigo and amber stained, cauliflower floret, sliced, row of winter poplars, shale tideline, telltale gap, limestone landscape, clints and grikes. This poem is a translation, and I put it into a competition of modern poetry in translation that David edited, and I was honoured that it was commended. It's after the Polish poet Zbigniew Herbert. Never you. I never have the nerve to mention you, colossal skies over my backyard, nor you roofs, mossy roofs, crowning glory of our homes, fending off torrents of air. My lips are sealed about you chimneys, laboratories of misery, craning your necks to the moon who shuns you, and you windows closed, ajar, shattering as we die in exile. I can't even speak of the house which knows all of my comings and goings, tiny, never stirring from behind my shut eyelid. Nothing can coax out the smell of the green curtain, the creak of my tread on the lamplit stairs, the leaves over the gate. No, I will write about the latch on the gate to that house. I know its workings inside out, its rough catch and familiar rattle, yet my words turn run-of-the-mill. So many feelings fit between two beats of a heart. Two hands can juggle so many things. It's no surprise we struggle describing the world and make do, call things fondly by their names. This is a new poem. I wrote it at a workshop given by Maurice Riordan, and he gave us a list of American Indian lines, and I wasn't very inspired by them. But then I saw this one, which is the epigraph to the poem, and it made me think of a stunt earlier in the year by a shop called American Apparel. And it made me think about the pressure put on women by the catwalk and also by internet porn as to how they should make their bodies be. So that's what this poem came from. It's called Rumble. They saw a band of horses and the woman among them. Her pubic hair had grown so long that it resembled a tail, and the hair of her head was a mane. Don't knock American Apparel. They do their darndest to get us to part with our dollars, but hey, mannequins with hair sprouting out of their frillies. Hollywood, Brazil are not the only destinations. Women throng the store on Lower East Side. Look at them whoop and shriek by the window, stamp their Manolos on frosty ground. That traffic cop is figuring if he needs backup to move this posse on. I haven't got a collection, but I am working to get all my poems well placed. And I've said I feel a bit like Mrs. Bennet, finding good matches for them. And this is my most recent match. This poem is going to be on a bus travelling around Guernsey over the summer. I think I might go and spend some time with my daughter out there. Untitled, no date. I come across that snapshot, catch myself studying the child's dark eyes, my eyes, for some clue as she beams from the 2-inch square, reaches out her toddler hand, my hand, to the person holding the brownie camera, and to me as I peer back at her, leaning against her mother in the black and white deck chair. Behind them, steely shuggy boats, the checkered promenade, and concrete-floored storeroom where deck chairs overwinter. A refuge in summer for lost children who perch, sniffing on splintered wooden forms, their sandy feet dangling in space as they wait to be collected. And this is my final poem. And basically it's about the difficulty when you're born between two cultures and feel like you belong really in neither. My father's people. I grew up supposing I was a land animal, taught to swim badly by my father. He supposed he was the same, short of breath, prone to verrucas, yet a whiff of chlorine filtered through Bovril and cigarette smoke would soothe me like a lullaby. I relish clearing drains, unblocking plug holes. Culverts, sluice gates, sewage farms draw me, any place where a current pulls to a river or the sea. I seek out derelict Lidos as tourists swarm to the footings of Roman forts. I know koi carp, tickle their bellies, hand-feed pellets into their hosepipe mouths. When the house is still, I trawl the internet for bellboys. Otter Point, Marblehead, Ipswich Bay clang their call to prayer. The webcam at Windermere lets the lake lap into the living room onto my green sofa. Breast, crawl, back, my children were proficient before the age of 7. A smile brightened my father's face as I huffed to the finish in Huron Basin. Arthritis niggles in my ankles and knees when I'm away from the pool. Forest or ocean, the homeopath asks. Jetties, piers, lighthouses, summon me out beyond the edge of human habitation, bleak by day, aglow by night, viewed from a distance by gulls, puffins, dolphins, seals. Thank you.